want to go over just a few of the items that we'll need to go ahead and run the cables. So of course a drill, a 1/4-inch drill bit, and I actually got these two parts from Amazon, and I'll post a link in the description of what these actually are. But I believe this is 1/16 inch stainless steel cable, and I believe that's 30 feet, which we're going to have more than enough there. And then of course the ferrules, and there's several different sizes there. And then 1/4-inch tubing, and this is also about 30 feet, and of course we'll have some extra there. But this is actually for I think like water filter or drip irrigation, either one of those. So we'll use that to run through the boat, and then of course the cables are going to go through that. So we'll move to the back of the boat and start drilling the holes where the rudder cables are going to come out and actually attach to the rudder. Alright, now I'm actually going to take my drill bit and drill the holes, but I'm actually not going to use these holes. I'm going to use the ones that are a little further up, and you know, that way I can easily have more than enough room if I decide to, you know, move the placement of the rudder or anything like that. So let's go ahead and drill the holes. 1/4-inch drill bit. Let's see, make sure it's right in the right spot. Alright. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the other side while I'm back here. Alright, we're done with that. Now we'll move up to the front and drill those holes. Alright, now the other holes are going to be on the upper side of this. Once you have the pedal and it's free-flowing movement, the rudder cable is actually going to attach to the corner of the footrest. So we're going to come out, I'll say probably right here, and I'm just going to use a punch and you know, just make a mark so it'll be easier for when I go to drill it. Alright, that's good enough. And then I'll just go ahead and do that on the other side, and then, you know, drill it using that same 1/4-inch drill bit. Alright, I went ahead and drilled out the hole on both sides, the front of the kayak where the rails are that hold the pedals in place. Now we're just going to go to the back of the kayak and remove the access plate back there. That way we'll be able to feed the 1/4-inch tubing all the way from the front of the kayak to the back, and I'll show you that process in a second. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take off the access plate, and then of course you can see right here that the rudder pin fits right down in that hole right there. So I'll go ahead and take all of this off, and then we'll be able to start running the cable after that. And of course you can tell we're not going to really have any issues with water or anything getting in because of that gasket there. But let's go ahead and move on to running the 1/4-inch tubing through here. And then we can seal it up and then run the stainless steel cable. Alright, now after I've fished the cable through here, I'm just going to take a lighter and just melt the end of this so that it kind of mushrooms out. And I've got a screw here that I'm going to try and move some of it out. Alright, now I'm just going to let that cool, and then once that cools off, I'm going to go ahead and push it back through. And I'm going to use some Lexol and put that around it just to seal it. Alright, I'm just going to spread some of this Lexol brand silicone around here. I usually use this on a lot of my kayak parts. Just going to put it around there, just enough to seal it, and then I'm going to pull the tube back through, and we should be done with this side. Then we can move to the front and basically do the same thing. Alright, now I'm to the front of the boat, so I'm just going to kind of measure out where I think it needs to be. I mean, close enough, and you know, just cut it right there. And of course, you got to leave enough room so it doesn't try to go back in on you. You're going to melt it just like we did the back, and use some of that silicone to seal it up. Now we need to go ahead and feed the stainless steel cable from the back of the kayak all the way through the tubing until it comes out the front. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut. Actually, I'm going to pull this out, I'd say 2 or 3 feet, and then cut about a foot or so off the back so that we can make some adjustments down the road. Okay, for back here, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and slide a piece of heat shrink tubing on, and then let's see, I'm going to slide one of these ferrule pieces on, and then actually wrap the cable around one of these and then crimp it back through the ferrule. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back with you. I'll actually do both sides, and then I'll show you how I'm going to connect it to the rudder. Right, now that I've crimped everything down, I actually fit this heat shrink tubing over this just as an extra measure to, you know, clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and light that up just so it shrinks all the way around this. Let's see here, almost done. And I'm going to do this on both sides. Like I said, just to clean it up. You really don't need to do this. It's just something extra that I wanted to do. Alright, got one side, I'm going to go ahead and do the other. Alright, now you can see what the final product looks like in the back of the boat. Went ahead and attached the quick link, that stainless steel quick link on both sides, and then we're going to go to the front of the boat and just go ahead and basically do the same thing we did back here, but we're going to do it to the front, and after that we'll be ready to go. I can go ahead and, you know, show you how this is going to work back here, and you know, we'll be ready to do the actual on the water demo. Alrighty, so the only thing we really need to do up here is basically what's similar to what we did to the back. I'm going to go ahead and slip the heat shrink tubing on, then one of these ferrules, and of course we're going to slip it right through this hole. And of course I've got more than enough cable right here. I'm going to have to trim some of it off, but basically I'm going to do the same thing that I did to the back. Loop this back around, fish it through that ferrule, and then crimp it, and then go ahead and just use that heat shrink tubing and, you know, put it over everything just to, like I said, just to tidy it up some. And then after that I'll demonstrate, you know, how the rudder works from up here. Now that I'm done with the front of the boat, I'm just going to show you how freely the rudder moves with the cables fully installed. Alright, that is it. If you all have any other questions, comments, just leave a comment, and I'll try and, you know, answer what I can. But stay tuned. I'll actually have the on the water demo coming up in part 2 of the series.